It is a pleasure for Lockheed Martin to participate in today's presentation. But before I do that, there's a couple of folks I'd like to just recognize that are in the audience. In addition to, where did Chip go? I saw you back there. Chip's standing back in the back. And obviously, I'm going to introduce Casey here in just a minute. But I've got Mr. Rob Smith, who's one of our vice presidents out of one of our operating business areas that's with us visiting the city today. And also my future replacement here in another week or so, Major General retired Jim Rogers, who's taken over for Lockheed Martin's operations in the Huntsville area. So thanks to both of y'all for being here today. There's nothing more important than the investment that we make in our children. Lockheed Martin has recognized this for some time. And this year, we are providing a $1 million contribution to Project Lead the Way at the national level. There are 49 new schools that will benefit from our contribution to the Project Lead the Way effort. And it really is a delight that one of the schools from our city was selected to be a participant in the program. We already have some in the city that are participating, but this is a new one. And so we're delighted. We have 120,000 employees in Lockheed Martin. We're just a small company. 70% of that 120,000 are scientists, engineers, technicians. We hire about 3 to 5% of all the graduating college engineers every year in Lockheed Martin. We do difficult is one of our mottos. You don't do that with just the average person. You need young people that are inquisitive, who want to test the boundaries of what science, technology, engineering, and math can provide. The kinds of products and services that we provide to our men and women in uniform today didn't happen just because somebody was in a room somewhere. They were educated. They were inspired to get involved in science, math, engineering, and technology. So it's to our advantage because we know that these young men and women, that when they start school and they get that motivation, they get fire in the belly to go make a difference in this kind of an environment, that someday we may very well wind up hiring one of those individuals or many of those individuals. So it's a particularly delightful day that we can see the investment that we're making at a national level come home to roost right here in Huntsville, Alabama. And it's our great pleasure to be able to participate and make the recognitions today. It's also my pleasure to introduce our superintendent of schools. Casey Gorditsky and I go back a long way. No, I will not tell all the stories. But for those of you who know any of his background at all, or much of his background, know Casey came out of the Army. Great leader, great innovator, and developed a program back in our day, can I use that term, our day, called the Army Game. It was back in a time when we recognized that young men and women were really excited about having something they could get their hands on and test their energies and test their mental faculties. So Casey and I go back a ways as I helped him get started on that. It was his idea. I just gave him a little money like I'm doing today. So it's my pleasure to introduce the superintendent of the Huntsville Schools, Casey Gorditsky.
I'm very grateful to be able to continue that tradition today. I got very excited when I heard $1 million. And we're gonna keep pursuing Lockheed Martin until we get all of that. But this is a good start, and we're very appreciative, sir, of this very generous gift to New Century Technology High School. As General Cavan mentioned, this is to help us with our science, technology, engineering, math program. It's called Project Lead the Way. And this will provide a great boost to our young adults as they get excited about working in the sorts of fields that have made Huntsville very famous in our country for the inventions that have taken us to the moon, and the next inventions that will take us beyond our imaginations. And Stuart Thorsen is here as our principal of New Century Technology High School, and they will be the incubator where this money will go to work, building new minds to work in fields from cyber security to engineering and aeronautics. And of course, here in Huntsville, this is vital work because Huntsville is all about workforce readiness, providing an education that gets all of our children ready for a great career and, quite frankly, high-paying jobs. That's not a bad thing to have. And Huntsville's a good place to do that. And so we're very grateful, sir. Thank you very much. And thank you, Lockheed, for this very generous gift. And Stuart, why don't you come up and tell us how you're going to put it to work. Stuart Thorsen is our principal at New Century.
I guess everyone, if we mentioned AP Biology or AP Physics, that's something we automatically know what that means. Project Lead the Way, we don't know what that means, but in this town, that will become synonymous with AP Biology and AP Physics and AP Chemistry. Dr. Wardynski is leading an initiative to put Project Lead the Way, which is basically high school engineering, in every high school. And we started that process a few years ago. I was in a meeting sitting across from Miss Lucia Cape, and I was new on the job, and she said, hey, have you ever heard of Project Lead the Way? At that time, I had never heard of it, looked it up. I said, yeah, that'll be great. I'd love to teach those classes. And then I started looking at the price tag to start just the first level class while I needed all these NASA level computers, all of this software, all these wind tunnels and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, I'll never be able to buy that. And so she said, well, just let me work on that. And so lo and behold, a few years later, get an email from Lockheed, Miss Melanie Baker, hey, there's this grant. Why don't you put in for it? I think you'll get it. And so we put in for it, and lo and behold, got a check for $15,000, and I think there's more coming, and we have already outfitted those labs. We've got kids in here. Two students have already come up through Project Lead the Way. At New Century, we actually have about 100 kids that are in Project Lead the Way. As a percentage of our student body, we have more than probably any school in this state because we're a STEM high school. And anyway, it has made such a difference just being able to provide that for our students, something that no other city can provide. There's not many schools you can go in where we have a robotics lab, where they have a robot down there today that is launching a Frisbee. Can you imagine that was your class where you got to work on instead of sitting in front of a teacher, lecturing all day? What a difference that makes. And Dr. Wardynski didn't mention it, but career and college readiness, that's what his initiative is what he's tasked us with as principals, is providing students career and college readiness. And that's not an either or, that's both. And so that's our mission at New Century. And Project Lead the Way and the things that Lockheed champions are fitting so well into that. And we're so excited. I'm so appreciative of Lockheed, all the department heads and leaders and vice presidents of Lockheed here today. It means so much to us. It means so much to Dr. Wardynski, our board members that are here. I just want to say thanks to all of you that I got to meet today. Some of you I've seen before. And we're so excited, so appreciative. And we're at 2500 Meridian Street. So come by. We have a fabulous thing called the Internet Cafe, another Dr. Wardynski idea. And just come by and see us, see the digital initiative, see what placing rigor means in the classroom. Sometimes we don't know what that is, but these students will tell you what rigor is, and that means it's hard, and it means it's challenging, and it's relevant, and then it pays off. I want to say thank you to Ms. Reba Rogers and Mr. General Rogers that are here. They've been great supporters of mine, had fabulous experience with their young man who graduated from New Century Technology High School. And just thank you all for coming. And we're so appreciative, and have a good afternoon.